Guys, welcome back. So in part one, I introduced Ginger, the Lionhead Rex rabbit, and this part two, we're going to introduce Ginger to Nutmeg. So to start off with, we have Nutmeg here in her enclosure, and Ginger here in her enclosure. So we've had Ginger for a few weeks now, and they are on our shelving on top of, or right next to each other. So they're aware of each other's existence. And also in the first video, in the first part, they were outside together and they actually saw each other through the gate, the grate that they were playing with. And they were actually really curious. Now we are not going to introduce Miss Ginger to Mr. Velvet over here, because Velvet and Nutmeg have already seemed to bond, and we don't want to create animosity between our animals. We've had that before with Miss Cider. She did not get along with Nutmeg, so we're going to try our best to see if they get along. Okay, here we go. Okay, so they're both out of their enclosures now. We have Miss Nutmeg, who's hopping around. Now this is the animal room, so we're using it as a neutral ground instead of in a playpen where they could have already scented. And right now, Miss Ginger is in the chair. So we're going to encourage her down and see how they interact. I am not going to force the interaction. Oh, and just a heads up, the way I pick them up for my safety and theirs is I do scruff behind the ears. Is how their mother, or biological mother, would pick them up. So it's not harm. It's not causing them any harm. I'm just lightly pinching the skin behind their neck and picking them up. There we go. There we go. We got Miss Ginger, Miss Nutmeg, all the way over there. She's smelling the dog soaps. So let's see what happens. It's a big room. I'm not going to force them to meet unless this takes too long. Oh, here we go. Nutmeg's already caught a whiff. Now there's lots of smells in this room, so that's one of the reasons why I am using it as a neutral zone. We also did clean in here recently, so it shouldn't smell like the dogs or anything like that. Nutmeg, stop messing with my supplies. Okay, maybe we have a chance. They're smelling each other. Ginger's a little shy, so she went and hid underneath the chair. So they're doing just like dogs do, and Nutmeg is smelling her butt. Just like a dog would do. Ginger got a little scared, but that's okay. There was no tufts of fur being pulled out, there was no biting, there was no screaming, or this weird clearing of throat noise. So that was really good. I'm very proud of them, actually, and the fact that they could leave each other alone is a good sign that Nutmeg does not feel that Ginger has invaded her territory. And now it's Ginger's turn to smell the dog soaps. Here we go again. They're just smelling each other. I believe that Nutmeg is pooping to mark her territory at the moment. But they are really good at pooping and doing something else. They're wonderful multitaskers. Then that's what we were trying to avoid. I'm just using a broom to separate them. They can smell each other through the broom, but I'm not letting them touch each other right now. That is something that usually happens, and I'm actually going to go ahead and probably cut them off here. We had a little bit of fur come off. That was off of ginger. Nutmeg is an instigator. Okay, under the chair again. Nutmeg is being slightly territorial. They seem okay with each other's presence as long as they're not in too close of quarters. With Nutmeg being territorial, that does make sense. The good thing is that Nutmeg is not going for an attack. She is trying to be like, I want to get to know you, but I do want you to know your place. Okay, for a second there, Nutmeg got on top of Ginger. And I want to explain what just happened. That is the age rite of passage, I would say. I don't want to. It is the age rite of passage, but it's also a sign of dominance. Oh, Ginger's trying to show dominance. Okay, so what I was saying is the getting on top of each other is a sign of dominance. Even a female will do it. But it is a sign of dominance, and they are getting a little aggressive, so I will separate them with a broom. So it's a sign of dominance. They're, mounting the head or the backside. It is pretty common. Just a sign of dominance saying, hey, I'm the alpha, and you need to submit to me, just like an arm waving in a bearded dragon, or like a sword fight amongst men. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for the first session. Ginger's trying to hide now, and Miss Nutmeg is breathing really hard. She's starting to heave a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and stop there, but I hope you guys learned something about introducing rabbits to each other. The other thing I would have to say is, again, neutral zone if you're going to introduce them, but also think about the gender. Do you want to potentially have offspring? So Ginger's safely back in her enclosure. She's doing just fine, but she's breathing a little heavily. You can see it about right here. It's heaving a little bit, which is normal after two rabbits meet. I think her color is a little bit more distinct also. And here's Miss Nutmeg. Here, I'll open the enclosure so you can see how she's just pretty tired. She's very proud of herself and she thinks she did a good job. You can also tell that she's breathing quite heavily. It's also a little late, so they're probably tired. And just for the heck of it, Mr. Velvet. Say hi. He's also known as the Prince of Darkness because he's just black on black. But just let y'all say goodnight to the rabbits. So say goodnight.